Innocence and Requiem. These are not just fancy words to add to the title name. No, they really resonate with what's happening in these two Plague Tale games. What if the bubonic plague that ravaged the medieval era was actually caused by something sinister, something kept secret, and our innocent protagonists find out what it is and have to fatefully deal with it and hold Requiem for the people around them. We'll have more to say about the stories later, but these two games are great experiences to play. And of course, great to platinum. In this video, we are exploring the Platinum XPerience for both Innocence and Requiem, the Plague Tale games, which is a great example of the evolution of game sequels. It's not just the content itself, the Platinum journey evolves between the two games, and before we know it, we see the big differences between the two. Now, before you start scurrying through these Platinum journeys, note that both Innocence and Requiem have been given out for PS Plus Essential, so if you've been keeping up with adding the games to your library, you will have both. The PS5 version was given out in July of 2021, and Requiem was added in the banger of an update in January 2024. So if you end up enjoying this video and have them in your game library, definitely go and plat them both. And don't forget to subscribe to the Platinum XPerience for more videos like this, or from the Platinum Hunters series. You might just find your next Platinum trophy. Now, let's dive into the dark.
It's over with. Yes, take me to my
Amicia, you killed him. Come on.
The first step in this Platinum journey is a big one, especially considering how inexperienced these two fateful siblings are. But they hold their own in the end, and that's not a spoiler because you know we have another game following this one. They are able to survive the rats, especially the ones wearing armor, and that will get you the Knight's Trophy for completing all chapters. The game has no difficulty options, so what you see is what you get with this game. And I found the story and gameplay quite compelling, and it left a good impression on me. You know, aside from some stiff combat, I found the whole stealth gameplay loop with the tools you have to move the rats around and mess with the guards to be just so interesting, and my favorite part of the whole experience. Now, if you're afraid of rats, this game, and especially its sequel, are not going to help you with that at all. And if you're like me, then you're slowly collecting phobias like trading cards and probably going to develop a fear of rats after you're done. But if you can suck it up, this is just 17 trophies of the total Platinum XPerience, and there is more to cover.
You'll die there. But no one listens to old Clary anymore, so... Anyway, I see you have a sling. You're going to need it, but it'll be no use to you in that state. Go to the backyard. You'll find some new strips of leather there, and feel free to use the workshop in the next room for your repairs.
That's very kind of you.
The way the player upgrades work is pretty wonky in this game and produces the only two real missable trophies you have in this run. You have the not a toy anymore trophy for fully upgrading your sling and the handful of pockets trophy for upgrading your equipment. All you have to do for these trophies is to go to the skill tree and fully invest into the upgrades under the sling section and then the equipment section. There's a third section that pops up midway through the experience, but thankfully the devs thought about it and decided not to make you upgrade it for a trophy, and there's a good reason. Unlike the collectibles, which we'll get into shortly, you can't use chapter select to go back and collect the upgrades you are missing. Instead, if you try to go back to any of the previous chapters, it will revert to the amount of resources and upgrades you had when you first played the chapter, which, as you can see, is a big problem. To make matters even worse, Innocence doesn't even have a New Game Plus mode, so you can't carry over all your progress and clean the upgrades up that way. This became a big problem for me as I straight up missed both of those trophies. I didn't have enough resources by the time I hit up the last workbench, and I ran out of runway to stick the landing in one playthrough. Admittedly, I was careless and didn't upgrade the proper things, but if it can happen to me, it can certainly happen to you. Another problem plaguing you from getting these trophies is there's a bit of a resource scarcity, and those resources are used for leveling up. Certain resources like leather, saltpeter, and alcohol are bountiful because you will constantly be using them for crafting, but rare resources like tools, fabric, and cord are less present. The tools are especially important because if you don't have tools, you won't upgrade anything, and there were times where I found a workbench and couldn't upgrade shit. So all these factors combined caused me to have to do 2 extra half playthroughs to get this done. What do I mean by that? What you need to do is load up chapter 9, which is the point when everything is available to upgrade, and play through the back half of the game until you upgrade what you're missing. It won't be enough to do both trophies, so you want to make sure you clear at least one of the skill branches in your very first playthrough. So in order to do this in a playthrough and a half, you'll need to manage your resource count, and there are a few ways you can do this. Rule number 1, and the most important, try to fully upgrade your pocket stat first and by chapter 9 or 10. The pocket stat allows you to hold more resources at a time, which will come clutch when you're not able to hold more of those rare resources I mentioned earlier. Being forced to leave them behind because your pouch is full is going to absolutely suck and slow down your platinum journey. Rule number 2 is to explore side paths as much as you can because there are usually rare resources found there. You don't want to leave those behind. I know it's scary and there's rats, but be brave and go get the stuff. And rule number 3 is to make sure you hit up all 5 alchemy carts, which is actually a collectible that gets you the resource sharing trophy. Entering an alchemy cart will not only contribute to the trophy, but you'll be greeted with a ton of resources and an extra workbench. There's usually only 1 workbench per level, with this being the only way to upgrade. It's a welcome sight. Reminds me of The Last of Us, really, when you think about it. Now, if you follow all these tips and try not to overuse your resources for crafting, theoretically, you could do this all in one playthrough. It sounds possible. I messed it up so badly that I can't confirm this, but with all the data laid out, I think it is possible to do it in one. It's going to be very tricky though, and you will have to explore every side path for resources. Let me know if you were able to achieve this in the comment section below. I'd love to hear how you did it and how you approached it.
Oh, a necklace. It's a rosary. What's it for? Praying. Can I use it to talk to Mommy and Daddy? We'll do it together.
Thankfully, collectibles are immune to the nonsense that goes on with the skill tree upgrades, and you can use chapter select to go back and find the ones you're missing. Thinking about the collectible journey after the fact, it was pretty smooth, I must say. I used a text-only guide, and I only had to use chapter select to go back for a handful of things I missed. An alchemy card here, 2 curiosities there, it's all pretty breezy. They came in 3 varieties, not including the one we covered already with the alchemy carts. So first you have to find 11 gifts for the Big Sister trophy. These would be rather unremarkable if it weren't for the fact that once you get to a place that acts as your home base of operations, you can actually see them sitting on shelves in a cabinet. That makes them actually kinda neat. The 26 curiosities needed for the Curiosities Collector Trophy is a lot more interesting, as these are more lore-based items with a cool description. You get dumb stuff like soap, a tablecloth, or spices, but then again you get cool stuff like a declaration of war or a bird language manual. Sick, I've always wanted to talk to birds. Last set for us is the Botanist Trophy, where you'll have to find 13 flowers. There are 13 different flower types to find, and Amicia can wear them in her hair. Hugo is a big herbalist, so if he's happy, I'm happy. It's all good. And that's it for the collectibles part of the run. There's 55 things to find, including the carts, which is not bad. The guide is linked below to help you get them all.
Can't stop. Not here. I feel funny. Come on. You'll be able to rest when we get to Laurentius's place. My head. It hurts. I don't know what to do, Hugo. What would Mommy do? Give me medicine. I can carry you. That's the best I can do. Come on, climb up.
Now, the last part of the Platinum journey for Innocence involves completing 9 trophies you can collect in the environment. Like for example, the More Practice trophy right in chapter 1, where you have to complete the aiming training right when you arrive back at the Darun family home. These 9 trophies are found in select cuts of the levels and would otherwise be missable if it wasn't for the fact that we have good old chapter select. This one is again found inside the Darun home, but it's a big place. You'll need to head all the way to the right and past the stables till you get to the target practice range. If you use your sling to smash all the pots, then the trophy will pop. There is another one in the next chapter, and it's called Feeding the Hungry. This place is not a great place to be right now, and these white marks on the doors of people's homes means there are sick or dead people in them. This plague is no joke. But there is something living in this area, and it's this apple tree. Once you start seeing the white markings for the first time, keep to the right and follow this path till you get to the tree. Interacting with it will feed a hungry Hugo and get you the trophy. The next 2 come in chapter 4 and 5 with the Found and Savior trophies. With the Found trophy, you will reach a part of the story where Hugo runs off into a field of crops to play hide and seek. Well, for that trophy, you have to get the jump on the naughty boy instead of the other way around. Sneak your way through the crops where he is hiding on the left side of the path. Keep sneaking until you see him. Get behind him and give him a scare and a scolding. Don't do that again. Savior is a little bit more high stakes of a trophy in that normally a soldier equals bad, but we're going to save one for this trophy. About halfway through the level, past a bunch of rat sections and into this inside section here, you will see a trapped soldier just ahead of you and rats in front of you. Relax. You have a torch, but if you use it to continue along the path, the light will actually push the rats into the soldier, and it's num 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 time. You need to save him though, even though he doesn't deserve it. Instead, put the torch on the holder and sling some ignifier across the way to light up a torch beside him. He will be eternally grateful and agree not to rat you out because you didn't rat him. Moving along, next we have the Tribute and the Hard Way trophies in chapter 8 and 9 respectively. The Tribute trophy is very easy to get, as all you have to do is find the tomb at the bottom of the home base place I talked about earlier. It is down the staircase at the very bottom, and the tomb is found there. Something to note is that you will come to your home base a few times in the story, and you can visit the tomb whenever, but if you want to pop the trophy, it has to be done here in Chapter 8. It won't pop in any other instance. Now, Chapter 9's trophy is a bit tricky, and it's right at the very end of the chapter. The hard way wants you to enter the university, well, the hard way, by entering through the highly guarded main door instead of the unguarded side entrance, which is so much nicer to go through. You'll have 2 sets of guards to take care of in this instance. You need to take care of these 2 dorks over here on the right first, and one is wearing armor. In one swoop, you need to toss a devastation on the armored guard, sling the guard beside him with no helmet, and then sling the second guard when his helmet pops off. Okay, 2 down. Now you have 2 fully armored guards with shields by the entrance. You need to take care of them one at a time by using devastation and then slinging them from behind. This will require some trial and error, and the stiff combat won't do you any favors, but it's best to get one of the guards to move from their spot and use this carriage as cover until he gives up looking for you. By whatever means, eliminate them, and then you can go through the front doors and get the trophies. Then our last 3 trophies are found in chapters 12, 14, and 16, which is the final one. We start with Merciful, which honestly takes very little effort to do. There are 2 dying soldiers under torches just after you help Lucas get across a pool of rats with a spotlight. You need to get yourself to a gate at the end of the path, and you can use Odorous to move the rats out of the way. Now, I've described the scenario to you. All you have to do is not put any of those torches out, and you will get the trophy just like that. Very easy, and it's tempting to use the soldiers as rat bait, but don't do that in this instance. Now, in complete opposition to that, the Captain Sidekick trophy isn't that easy and a lot more stressful. You play as Hugo in chapter 14 and get to a section where you have to follow the captain wherever he goes. Continue to do that until you reach this open courtyard where you split away from him and find a black nightshade flower collectible. It's here that you need to get ahead of the captain and get through the door on the other side of the courtyard before he does, and without him or any other guards seeing you. The best way to do this is by taking the path on the left side and being quick about it. There will be guards on this path, no doubt about it, so you're gonna need to be careful while you sprint through there. As well, if you take too long, the captain might be right behind you and see you, so hurry up when you get through the door unseen. There is a cart with a cloth on it that you can hide under, and when the captain finally enters the room, the trophy will pop. Good job, Hugo. He's growing up so fast, I need a moment. Okay, I'm back. There's this last one to cover, and it's called The Blacksmith for finding Roderick's family forge. You will need to look for this before you complete this incredibly annoying part. Like, you will know which part I'm talking about when you get there. It involves a carriage and it sucks. But to the right of that carriage is a side path that you can follow, and at the end of that said path, you will find Roderick's forge, or what's left of it. It's a very sad chapter for this character, man. He had it down bad. But with that last trophy, that's it for this Platinum XPerience, and congratulations! You will be awarded the Innocence Platinum Trophy for A Plague Tale Innocence. In the end, despite some shortcomings, the Platinum run is still pretty good. Collectibles are not too numerous, the chapter trophies are all interesting, and it helps that the game is good too. For the average person who doesn't do their research though, the skill tree trophies are going to be annoying if you don't understand what to do. I can see it in the trophy percentages. There's a big drop off of the people who obtain these trophies. This is the big Achilles heel of this Platinum XPerience, bitten off by rats. But where we are going next is going to show you how much the devs considered everything when crafting their next masterpiece. It's time to check out A Plague Tale: Requiem.
What do you think it was?
I don't know, but it woke me up.
The house! A bad omen, I tell you.
Curfew is still in effect! Go back to your homes!
What's going on? Tell us the truth.
Enough lies! No! Run! All of you! No!
So what's clear is that while Innocence is a scrappy, tight little experience, it was definitely made on a modest budget. With success, critical praise, and a boost from PS Plus, the next game's leap in fidelity is immediately apparent right when you jump into the first chapter. Rolling landscapes, massive environments with side paths to explore, and multiple ways to play out these combat encounters. This game is just so much more grandiose. We have another 16 chapters to complete, so another 16 trophies plus the Knight's Trophy when you finish the whole experience. Same name as it was last time, and some of the other trophies are the same case. Now there's obviously more to do while working on completing the story, and I noticed there's no missable trophies this time, and some other refinements, so let's get into the weeds of it right now.
What? No, Lucas, what do I do?
Catch this! Strike the ground with it! Go to those stairs!
Ah! What is this?
Hurry! It won't last long!
Back! Get back! They don't like it! What was that?
Pyrite! A mineral! I just grabbed some on the way!
Well, it saved my life! Thank you!
I'm happy to report that the player upgrades in the sequel have been completely revamped and are no longer a pain. Instead of requiring the ingredients you use to craft ammunition and those dumb rare resources, now all you need to upgrade something is the right amount of tools and enough of a new material called pieces. That's it. Tools and pieces. No weird combinations of resources required. This is so much better now, let me tell you. You still need tools to upgrade at a workbench, and the cost has actually gone up, but it's still a much better system than last time. There will be 3 upgrades for all 5 categories, so that's 15 upgrades you need to get in order to collect all 5 of these upgrade trophies that pertain to your sling again, but the other 4 are gear, alchemy, instruments, and your crossbow. Yes, you get a crossbow in this game and it rules. Definitely focus on that, upgrade that bad boy. So for the cost breakdown, in total you will need to collect 30 tools and 875 pieces to get all the upgrades. However, if you hyper focus on the instruments upgrades, you will get some big advantages. The first upgrade lets you recycle certain resources you find if you have a full inventory of them. What are they recycled into? Pieces. This will help you upgrade at a faster rate. The second upgrade will let you upgrade your skills without the need for workbenches, so that's even more convenient. And the third upgrade in the Instruments tab lets you upgrade without needing tools, and that's ridiculously good. In that instance, you will only need 6 tools in total across your entire playthrough if you are patient and don't upgrade anything else other than the instruments first. Boss. But even with these advantages, when I got to the very end of my playthrough, I still had quite a few upgrades left. Did I do something wrong and was I screwed? No. Requiem has a proper New Game Plus mode in it this time, and thankfully all your collectibles and upgrades will carry over into the New Game Plus mode, so it didn't feel like much of a grind thereafter because I only had to play up to Chapter 10 to get the rest of the pieces that I needed. a little bit more than half of the playthrough, that's not that big a deal. The only caveat to playing in New Game Plus mode is that the game locks you into Ultimate difficulty, which has made combat encounters a lot more difficult. Guards are way more aware of your presence and will hunt you down more often, and guards can sometimes take you down in one hit. So Ultimate mode does make the game a little bit harder, but I wouldn't say it turns it into a slog or a grievance. If you were smart, then you only need a third or a half of Ultimate mode anyways. So that's the new and improved player upgrade system that was a concerning problem with the last Platinum XPerience. But this game also throws in a brand new system of upgrades for you to navigate through.
We did. But I'm weary of the thieves, murderers, mercenaries, all the bloody scum that keeps getting in our way.
Chaos rules our lives. They're part of it. And you're getting better at handling them. I see it. You didn't leave much alive back there.
Yes. That's probably why we're still alive to talk about it.
The new skill system is quite an enigma at first. It's 3 separate sets that contain 4 upgrades that I found to be quite helpful once you get them. Allow me to demystify these then, because other than them just being really awesome skills, you have trophies for them too. Let's start with the sneaky trophy for improving the prudence skills. Now keep in mind that all 3 lanes are upgraded through combat scenarios, and in this case, the prudence lane will progress more when you finish encounters using stealth. You still increase your meter even if you take out 1 or 2 enemies, but you get the max gains by stealthing your way through the whole combat scenario without killing anybody or without being detected. The fighter trophy is the exact opposite. You have to fully improve the aggressive skills by finishing combat encounters with as many guards down as you can. If you can just walk in there and completely wreck everyone, you will upgrade this skill path very quickly. And finally, there is the malignant path, and it says that it upgrades by using alchemy and stuff like that, but it actually works a little differently. Now you will upgrade this path by finishing encounters somewhere in the middle. Every combat encounter has a set amount of guards in it, and if you eliminate half and leave the other half intact, you will get the max amount here. This is indeed the stranger part of the system, but I guess it's meant to give skills to people who just do whatever it takes to survive. So TLDR, 1 wants you to kill none of the people, 1 wants to kill all of the people, and 1 wants you to kill half the people. That should make things easy to remember. Now, like the skill tree upgrades, there is no way to upgrade all 3 paths to the max in one playthrough. There's just not enough encounters. So you will be New Game Plusing this one too, which progress is all carried over. Now with Ultimate on, this might make stealthy and aggressive a bit more challenging to do, but again, the difficulty jump is not a big breaker. So my advice is to choose one style and stick with it for your first playthrough, then clean up the rest in New Game Plus. Now, I think the hardest parts of the run are out of the way, and we can check out some collectibles that we have to find here.
Wait, I know this. Lucas, they have a map of Guyenne.
Really? What's it doing here?
I don't know. Here's the ocean, the lake. Home was... it was around here, yes.
Hey, don't torture yourself with this right now.
Yes. It's all in the past.
Collectibles work similar to the way they do in Innocence, with the only difference being now that they carry over to New Game Plus if you wish to do it that way. Everything carries over to the next playthrough except for secret chests, which we'll get into in a moment. Chapter Select also works fine as a way to grab what you missed. For all these collectibles, you know where to look if you want to get a good locations video. That's down below in the description. If you can believe it, there are less things to find this time, and it starts with the 21 souvenirs for the Immortal Memories trophy. Now the word souvenirs is misleading, as they are more like mental souvenirs, or memories as we non-crazy folk call them. You will find something in the scenery that will create or recall a moment worth remembering, and you get to put it in your mental pocket, or brain as we non-crazy folk call it. The next two types share the same place and function. The flowers return once again for the herbalist trophy, except now you only have to find 5 of them. Why so small? Well, that's because you also have the 7 bird feathers to find for the ornithologist trophy. Every time they find flowers, Hugo gives them to Amicia to wear, but now he has his own feathers in his cap to wear, so he's got his own and he's happy, he's good now. And finally, replacing the alchemy carts are the 10 secret chests for the Explorer trophy. These are also very important to find because everyone will give you resources like pieces, pots, crafting materials, and a workbench. Now what's different is that they are locked when you find them, so you will need to find a knife in the environment first so you can lockpick them open. This got me into trouble when I got to chapter 9, where this chapter has 2 secret chests, but I only found 1 knife, so I had to leave behind 1 beside the shepherd with all the goats. This is also where I found out that the secret chests are the only collectible that doesn't carry over into New Game Plus mode, so I had to use chapter select to go back and get the last one. A minor annoyance, but not a big deal. Overall, collectibles are smoother than the first games, no doubt. Now we only have 4 trophies left to cover, so now would be a good time to hit that like button if you're enjoying the content. There's 4 chapter trophies left, and let's get into them.
Oh, can I climb those rocks?
Of course. Just don't fall.
I never fall.
Yes, sure.
King Hugo patrols the ramparts of his great wall.
What can you see from up there?
My kingdom.
Is it prosperous?
It was, but then Lucas attacked.
Oh, yes. The infamous sorcerer.
Oh, a river. It's the sea.
Let's patrol there.
Requiem's Platinum XPerience also has environmental trophies, but this time there's only 4 instead of 9 of them. So let's take this journey home. Our first chapter is a happy-go-lucky one in a game with very few of these moments, so let's enjoy it. It's the first chapter, and it's the perfect shot trophy for shooting all the pine cones floating down the river. It's the first time you use your sling, and Hugo is sending targets for you to practice on. Make sure you hit every one of them, even the ones that the little boy is throwing as well when he joins in. This trophy is not too hard because of the auto lock on the sling, so just aim in the general direction and it'll snap to it and you can shoot the rock. Not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The rock in your sling. Mercy is the next one in chapter 4, and you can't kill the guard on the docks. You will meet this guard that you and Lucas have to solve a puzzle with and partner up. Call it an uneasy alliance. Once you solve the puzzle, he's still being a typical jerk guard, so you're going to have to deal with him. One way is to have him eaten by rats, and I prefer that way, but the trophy wants us to not harm him. So the way to get past him, and you will have to think fast, is to throw an ignifier on him and then some tar. This will blind him and scatter the rats around him at the same time. Then book it to the door on the left and get the hell out of there with the trophy in hand. Rewarded for being a nice person. Then, in chapter 8, when we get to the island, we get to toss some pots for the perfect throw trophy. Specifically, you need to successfully complete all 4 throws in the crowns hanging up. When aiming the pots, you want to make sure the targeting line is going through the hole of the crown and the target is behind it and not clipping on the crown or anything else. Then you just have to land all 4 shots, and that's not hard to do at all. Now, the stall's location is a bit hidden, but when you're walking through the festivities, you will notice some guards gather around an archway. After talking to some residents, the guards will announce the festivities are beginning and move on. Then you can go under the archway and get to the crowns game so you can get the trophy. Finally, we arrive at the last trophy of the video called Old Protector. Chapter 9 is a long and weird chapter with lots of twists and turns, but our final trophy is collected near the end when we are deep into the sanctuary and knee-high in the shit. Our trophy hunt starts when you enter a room when we have to interact with all the Old Protector's items. That's all I'll say about that. This first room has 4 items to interact with, which are a bed, a toy horse, a tent, and dolls. Make sure you interact with all 4 items before you move on to the next room because you can't go back. Now in the second room, you need to interact with a set of armor, a weapons rack, wax tablets, and a chest of toys. So that's 4 more items. You are not done yet because next you have 5 items in a alchemist's room. Once you cross the courtyard and enter the room, you have 5 more items to look at. You have the black powder, an athenor, a table of flasks, a set of flasks which is different from the table of flasks, and lastly, a flask on a table which is different from the other 2. So 5 of them with 3 different flask related things. Just interact with everything that has a prompt on it, to be honest. Finally, because this trophy wasn't long enough and missable enough, there is one final item to interact with when you go upstairs to the map room. There is a set of scrolls that you need to find in the room, and you need to do this before you talk to Sophia. If you talk to Sophia like I did by accident, you will move on to the next part of the chapter whether you interacted with everything or not. Make sure you get that last item before this and secure the trophy. Of the 4 chapter trophies, this one is the most likely for players to miss and have to replay most of the chapter to try it again. So that's why I'm here to look after you as your trophy protector. But with that last trophy, we are done with this sequel, Platinum XPerience, and congratulations! You will be awarded the Requiem Platinum Trophy for A Plague Tale Requiem. Clearly, this Platinum run is a big step up from the prequels, just like the game itself. With new scope comes opportunities to try something new, and they did it with the Prudence, Aggressive, and Opportunism skill trophies. The rest of the trophies are just a refinement of what was there already to make the experience smoother. In the end, both Platinum experiences get my seal of approval, but Requiem's is clearly better than Innocence, and that's the mark of a great sequel. The chessboard here is set up for a 3rd game, and through the goodwill of these 2 games, I will be there day 1. I'm not waiting for PS Plus this time. Team Asobo is genuinely an interesting studio as they work on a game like this and Microsoft Flight Sim at the same time, 2 completely polar opposite types of games. Should you choose to add these 2 Platinums to your collection, get ready to laugh, get ready to cry, and get ready to run for your life, and get ready to delve into a wild conspiracy that involves rats. I hope you like rats. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Use the code word RATS in the comments section if you made it to the very end. Let me know if you have the plats already or if you're gonna rush over to the game library and see if you have it there from PS Plus. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope all your trophy hunting expeditions go much, much better than the bubonic plague went. And peace out.